My name's Jamie Lee, and joining me on the channel today, I have Mike from Did You See That? Hi, Mike. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, Jamie Lee. Hey, how are you doing?
I've got feedback coming through. Is that me? Yeah. Oh, crap.
My end's okay, but can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. My bad. I had to shut my YouTube
Awesome.
down. Anyway, how are you? Sorry. You're good?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm so excited because today I have a party to go to. And then my team are in the grand final. So I'm going to be partying like well into the night because I'm sure my team's going to win. So it's a good day. Very good day. And it's also a good day because you and I are going to be hosting a fortnightly live stream talking what we find interesting in entertainment news, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm for the floor, just go as it is. And, like you join me on my weekly stream Z Talk and stuff, and we just chat about anything and everything, really. So, yeah, I'm good to go. Find away the subjects, I'm here.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing a little bit of talk about that. Obviously, we've got heaps of comments coming through, which is so cool. People are ready to chat. If we don't say hi straight away, we definitely will, bring this up and talk about things. But it's going to be very interactive. We're going to be talking about entertainment news, but also things that we've watched over the past 2 weeks, and then things that we're going to watch in the next 2 weeks leading up to the next stream. So lots to talk about. And everybody in the comments who is saying hi, we will definitely interact with all of you, which will be very exciting. Okay, the first things first, which I think is the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Effective way to promote a movie that I have seen in a very long time. The Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman news. Let's get it up.
Right.
You want to play Wolverine one more time?
Yeah, sure, Ryan.
I mean, the internet just went, did it not?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I'd like to say I finished, like, I saw that when Z Talks ended the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, after I ended my live stream, I just, like, flicked YouTube open, see if anyone's got, like, new videos, whatever. And yeah, hey, everyone who's watching live right now. And I saw the Deadpool logo with the Wolverine claws. I was like, what the hell's that? You know? And I watched that trailer and I was like, wow, I was gobsmacked, being honest with you.
Yeah. So did you expect Wolverine to come not Wolverine to come back, but did you expect Hugh to come back as Wolverine?
Nah, because he went on like record for like so long, and he was saying like he was sick of the workouts he had to put in for Wolverine, which I mean, if I had a body like that, I'd be more than happy. But at the same time, I can imagine like it's a lot of work, dedication, and like, you kind of see the behind the scenes stuff of this. Like it's like 6 meals a day or like strict calories and stuff like that. And I love sweets too much, and I'd be like, I want some sweets. But like he went on record and said, look, that was last time he wanted to do Wolverine as part of Logan, and I think like Logan was like such a kind of a nice way in a sense to like end his legacy.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first saw that trailer, I was excited, but I was like, well, hold on. Does that kind of defeat the point of Logan?
Yeah.
And then they released the part Hugh, or part 2, but part Hugh, and explain that Logan is still dead. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, I'm on board. What they're going to do,
Yeah. I was really shocked because I cried a lot in Logan. I know Sophie did as well. Very, very sad. And I was really pleased with that ending. Like, I really thought his sacrificial death, and sort of like passing the baton on, I guess, for other people. So there was all that talk about, who's going to play the next Wolverine? And there was talk about the Kingsman guy. I can never pronounce his name right. You would know because he's from your land. Who did you think? And then there was Daniel Radcliffe as well thrown into the mix there. Who, if not Hugh, who would you want to see play Wolverine?
Right. So I think for me, like, I've never had anyone in mind to be like, right, they would be Wolverine, because I've always pictured like Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. I mean, he
but-
played it for like 17 years or something. Like that's
right.
it's crazy.
Right. It's like, for example, like Andrew Lincoln. He's obviously Rick Grimes, right?
Yes.
So it's imagine like he played Rick Grimes for all them years, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, Jake Gyllenhaal's going to be Rick Grimes." You know,
Right.
you yourself, you'd be like, "What the hell's this?" You know?
Yeah, for sure.
And that's just an example, by the way. That's not true for anything, by the way, people. So calm down.
Rick Grimes is coming back. Andrew
Right.
Lincoln is coming
But not
back.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
You never know.
But yeah, I think for me, you know, so when I saw the rumor about Daniel Radcliffe, I was like, okay, well, he's a bit of a smaller build guy. Not to say he can't bulk up and get that size, you know, or like Hugh Jackman, he's like a buff big guy, right? But for me, like, I love Daniel Radcliffe. I think he's like really underrated. I'm kind of sick of people being like, "Oh, he's just Harry Potter." He's proven in many films since then he can do more than just be someone in spectacles.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think like he would do Wolverine pretty well. It'd be a different take for sure. But you know, for me, I personally don't think we really need Wolverine anymore. I think like for the time he was in, he held up those X-Men movies. Hey, Pete. Yeah, I think for me, like he held up those X-Men movies. Logan, as you mentioned, Jamie, you know, you cried. It was an emotional movie. It was like a really nice send-off for that character. And I think like when they did that, I've never since then been like, oh, I wish they brought back Wolverine, or I wish they, you know, like I wish we had this and that. I was just like, you know, the character's dead. You know, it's like for me, I don't pine for Iron Man. I'm just like, right, well, the guy's dead. I don't want to see him again. He's gone. You know.
Okay. I do.
I mean, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a huge Iron Man fan, and that's probably blasphemy.
I am.
For, like, a lot of people. Right. Well, exactly. But I mean, for me, again, it's like Iron Man. He was there, the character, for like 10 years or so. They gave him a perfect send off and a perfect reason to like leave the MCU. And I feel like if they brought him back, it undoes all of that, what they've just built to do, and like Endgame and stuff. So, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think with their part 2 announcement, you know, they said that they're not going to touch Logan. Like, he definitely did die in that universe, and this is a completely different universe. So I think this is a good opportunity for them to bring back Hugh, but also, like, there's probably going to be different variants of Wolverine and things like that. You know what I mean? Like, with the MCU already, we've got so many different variants of a lot of people, like the Loki, Doctor Strange, things like that. So I think there's definitely opportunities for, like, different kinds or multiple Wolverines to be introduced. And I feel like that's a good opportunity for them to, again, pass the baton on to someone else. So, yes, it's Hugh, but we can also see different Wolverines, maybe played by different people, maybe played by Hugh, who knows, but maybe that's a good opportunity there to sort of introduce somebody who will be Wolverine in this future universe, in the MCU universe. And it's a good way for us to sort of get to know them and be like, okay, it's still the same guy, but still the same character, sorry, but we're moving on from the Hugh phase of it all. And I think that's a really good way to do it, because if you just chuck someone in, like, let's say Daniel Radcliffe, as you said, everyone's going to be like, oh, Harry Potter, you know, and just see him as that role. Whereas if they're sort of not working together, but kind of, you know, the same character in the same movie, then I think, that's a good way for people to see, I don't know, change, but also be accepting to that change. That's what I think anyway. Because a lot of people say that Hugh Jackman's too old and things like this. And, you know, I think that was one of the reasons why he wanted to not play the role anymore. But I don't think he's too old. I mean, have a look at the guy in that clip. I don't have the clip up. I've only got that Ryan Reynolds one. But in the clip, like, he's got, like, his veins are popping out. He's that freaking strong, you know? Like, he's fit. He's 53. Like, that's not even old, dude. Ryan Reynolds is 45. Like,
right.
Come on. You're not even old. So crazy.
Hey everyone. Yeah, I think for me, like, to comment what you just said there, like, I agree with what you say. Like, I think it's one of those where, you know, he's not too old to do the role, but at the same time, I think it's going to be interesting as once a check.
You
Well,
should be
maybe.
sending me the check.
Maybe.
My
Nah,
lovely-
you know what it is though. Like the thing is, like if you watch Hugh Jackman interviews, he seems like such a down to earth person. Like it doesn't seem like the type you'd be like, oh right, let me do this movie for a check.
That's right.
Like he seems like the kind of person who wants to do a movie because he wants to do that movie. And obviously him and Ryan Reynolds are like best friends, so for him it's probably like a no-brainer now that like obviously Deadpool's under like the Disney banner, and it's going to have like a fit purpose in the MCU for the first time. Like Hugh Jackman probably saw that and thought, oh well, actually hold on, like maybe there is a way to tell like another Wolverine story here, or maybe there's something where we can tie this into Logan, like in a good way. I mean, I don't know, like for me, like I've not seen Logan in such a long time, but I also remember the ending. I remember the battle where it's him versus some younger self kind of thing. But in that movie, he has a daughter, right? Or another mutant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Right.
end up killing that mutant.
But the girl?
I think it was No, the girl lives. Yeah, the girl lives.
Well, that's what I was going to say, yeah.
But I don't think it'll tie into anything like that because it's that they're saying they're not touching anything to do with that. So I think Logan will be Logan. He definitely does die. But I think in the MCU side of things, with the variants and things that I was talking about there, you know, he's going to be in Secret Wars. Well, I'm assuming he is because that's what happened in the comics. Like, I haven't read any of the comics. I don't know about you. Have you?
No.
No. But my husband's pretty into that sort of like geeky stuff. And from what he tells me, Wolverine is in the comics because I think there's 2 versions of the Secret Wars comics and he's in like the older version. So, you know, he could be in the Secret Wars or something like that in the future. And I think that was also in 2024 or 2025, like coming up in phase 6, I think it is. So, you know, Deadpool's obviously going to be before that. So that's a good way to sort of introduce Wolverine before that. You know, everyone already knows him anyway, but what if we're introducing a new character, a new version of Wolverine, as I said, with Daniel Radcliffe or whoever it might be.
But I guess at the same time, I think the issue is if they did that is, as you mentioned, if they're not touching Logan and Logan still exists in that universe, which, you know, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have mentioned in that Part Hugh clip, is like, I would personally like to see the girl come back in a future movie, the mutant, because it makes sense because obviously she was the last person he saw basically before he died, and she kind of has that kind of powers as such, so it would make sense for her to be introduced in a future installment because in that meantime, if it's based before the 2029 Logan, they're going to be like, well, hold on, how's there another Wolverine? Because he was still there in Logan 5 years later or however many years later this is set in Marvel. But yeah, I mean, the overall question you were asking, who would I like to see as another Wolverine? Daniel Radcliffe, I would personally like to see. I think I've said this on multiple streams and stuff before and in comments and stuff. I think by the year 2024, he's going to have a big breakout role somewhere and he's going to be in like big movies like Robert Pattinson, like with Batman, for example. I think that's going to happen with Daniel Radcliffe. It's just a matter of time, really. Yeah.
So you don't think it'll be the Kingsman kid? You don't think he's got a shot?
That Taggart Egerton or Taggart Egerton or bloody name.
I don't ever pronounce it. I always call him the Kingsman because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna nail that. Like it's gonna be bad.
Well, I've never seen the Kingsman movies, and my partner Emma's always saying to me like, Mike, you need to watch them. And I've said, you know, one day I'll get to them. So I've only ever seen him in the Robin Hood movie, which was awful.
Right. I haven't watched that one.
Don't. So for me, that's the impression I've got of that actor, though. Not to say that he's bad, but obviously that was a bad movie. So I'm just like, him as Wolverine, I'd be like, nah. You know, for me, no. Radcliffe all the way.
Yeah, right. I'd really like to see Carl Urban, who plays Billy Butcher in The Boys. I mean, maybe I'm a little biased because I love The Boys, but when I look at Wolverine, like that's how I see him, sort of that like really rugged. But I get that he's not the short because Wolverine's very short, and sort of that Daniel Radcliffe and that Sophie, that guy. You know, they're more height-wise and age-wise, I guess, because Carl Urban's 50. So it's sort of like, well, if Hugh's too old at 53, I mean, you want somebody that can continue in this franchise. So, yeah, Daniel Radcliffe, let us know in the comments who you think, might continue with the Wolverine role. If that's the case, like who knows? It might be Hugh for the future of the MCU. Who knows?
Right. I mean,
I don't want to pronounce it. Thanks, Sophie.
If Marvel are smart, right? One thing I'll say on this is what you mentioned, Jamie. Let's see what Corey said. Yeah, Jamie was saying that, but it's like Marvel, like a multiverse.
Yeah.
I mean,
and the variants and things like that. Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense if, for example, this promotion's like Hugh Jackman's going to return one last time. So the firstly, that's like a big marketing ploy to be like, oh shit, we've got to see him in this last ever performance.
Yeah.
But if Marvel is smart enough, they will get Hugh to film like scenes for Secret Wars if he's going to be in that, as you were saying, because while he's in that amazing shape, even if they signed him on for like an extra 2 weeks to be like, look, can you film scenes in this project? It makes sense, so that at least then he can be like, right, there you go, I'm finally out of this shape again. I'm not doing it again. But I've done like multiple projects on the side, which you don't know about, kind of thing.
Yeah, that could happen.
That would make sense if they did that.
Yeah. And again, like I know we keep going back to Logan, but also at the end of Deadpool 2, they rebuilt that time traveling device thing. So, they can time travel, which we know already happens in the MCU with the, multiverse of madness stuff. So I think, definitely, you can bring in whatever you want. Really, they can do whatever the hell they want at the moment. You know what I mean? But personally, I think the smartest thing is bringing Hugh back and letting those two work together, because you can see just from those two clips. I mean, did they even go for a minute? Like, that was fun. The internet blew up. Imagine a 2-hour movie with them, I'm just so excited. Everybody keeps talking about the suit, the yellow suit. Do you think that he will wear that or no? Yeah. Do you think we will see? You do?
Yeah, I mean, like, after all these X-Men movies, after like Logan, where he's an old man and doesn't give a shit anymore about life, kind of thing. Like, I think it just makes sense as like a comic book character. Like, they all have suits. Like, every superhero's in a suit of some sort, unless it's the boys, and then Carl Urban's just in his black jacket. but regardless of that, I mean, like, that yellow suit's been teased. And every image you see of Wolverine on the internet, if you just type in Wolverine, it's him in his yellow suit. So, I mean, it just makes sense for him to get that suit to don. And plus, a good point is, I was actually watching a live stream of like a bigger YouTuber last night. And they were saying, like, obviously, all these years Hugh's been in like crazy diets, crazy shapes to get in the role of Wolverine. Well, what would make sense is, by all means, bulk up a little bit. But if he has a suit, that suit could be like extra padding. So maybe he's not as big as he was, but the suit makes him look the same size because you've got that extra padding, the tight fits. Or, that Wolverine yellow suit, like, it's basically just his arms exposed, not like his body, just his arms. So it makes sense in a way. He doesn't need to be as big, but the suit pads him out a little bit. So he looks bigger as well. So I think they could go that route.
I think he will wear a suit, but I don't think it will be that. I think he will wear that one, but not for the entire movie. Like, I really don't think. I think for like fan service, like to shut the fans up and make everybody happy, like they are by even including Hugh Jackman. I think he will wear it.
I think what could happen is, you mentioned that, right? So I agree with you. I think what they'll do, because Deadpool is all about humor and poking fun at like anything, right? I think what's going to happen is Hugh Jackman's going to turn up at some, like, it's going to be Deadpool at first, maybe being like, oh, since I left you guys last time, this is what I've been up to, kind of thing, And, be like, oh, I got bought out by a mouse. Here I am in a Disney movie. It'd be something like that, right? I can guarantee. If they don't, that'll be a big missed opportunity. But I think what will happen is Deadpool's like maybe trying to like settle down with his girlfriend, maybe try to have a kid or, whatever. And I think what will happen is somehow Hugh Jackman will show up as Wolverine and he'll be in that like white vest and his jeans or whatever. And you know, throughout the Deadpool movies, been teasing Wolverine throughout the 2 movies. I think at first when he sees him in the white vest and the jeans, that, you know, they'll end up fighting and whatever. And I think the big plot of the movie is they're gonna have to face off against a bad guy together, you know, like a team up.
Yeah.
And I think at that point Ryan Reynolds will be like, look, let's get you out of like your church clothes or something. Let's get you into a suit. You know, or like 17 years later, he's a fucking suit, put it on, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's how they'll get the suit on Wolverine. And then, you know, fans will be like, oh, here we go, like, here's the moment.
Yeah.
Because if he turns up in it randomly, it'll be wasted.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
That's my thought.
I thought the same thing. Like, he's definitely going to have the yellow suit and, like, them big-ass eye mask at some point, but I don't think it'll be for the whole thing. And I'm not saying I don't like him in a suit. Like, God, it's Hugh Jackman. You know what I mean? Like, I want him in a suit. I want him in his jeans and his white shirt, or I want him in no suit. I don't care. I just want him in there. But, yeah, I definitely think we will see the yellow suit, but I don't think it'll stick around. I do think there will be a yellow suit, but not that one from the comics with the mask and that very sort of traditional one. I mean, I really liked the one from Days of Future Past. You know, that like sort of navy and black suit? I really liked that one. But anyway, they can do whatever they want, again, as we said. But it's also going to be interesting because in She-Hulk, there's like a little teaser saying that basically we're going to see Wolverine at some point soon. Maybe not in She-Hulk, but in general. She's reading the newspaper and they talk about the man with iron claws or the man with metal claws or something like that running around the city. And that's like one of the news headlines. And there was something else. I forget what the other Easter egg was. But anyway, there's another one. So in the universe that we know, like the one we're in right now with the MCU with She-Hulk, they don't, well, from what I take from that, they don't know who Wolverine is. Like, he doesn't have the name Wolverine yet. They just know him as the man with claws. So it's going to be interesting to see how they actually introduce Wolverine. Like, we know him because we've seen him in other stuff, but it's going to be very interesting to see how that comes across narrative-wise, I guess, in the whole MCU bubble. But yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I think it's going to be an interesting one because I think so far the only X-Men we've actually seen is Quicksilver and like WandaVision. I might be wrong on that because you've seen like some more Marvel stuff than I have.
Well, Miss Marvel has been introduced as a mutant. So
yeah, and like the post-credit.
Yeah, and then obviously in the Black Panther, the Wakanda that's coming out.
The bad guy isn't he? Hey, Gareth.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know why that took it off. Yeah, so we're definitely going to be seeing more mutants before, you know, we get the Deadpool thing in action. But yeah, I'm excited. And as you said, with the whole variants thing and, you know, the time travel and multiverses and things like that, you have that opportunity to bring in the people, as you said, from the X-Men. Like, we've already seen it in Multiverse of Madness, bringing that, you know, X-Men sort of into it in that way. So they can definitely do that with the X-Men, like you said, you know, bringing in, I think her name was Laura, you know, the little girl from Logan. They've got that opportunity to do all that stuff. So yeah, I'm excited to see who they bring in, whether it's for a cameo and they kill them off, or, you know, if they want these X-Men to continue in the MCU universe or not. Just have to wait and see.
Yeah. One thing I'm really interested in Deadpool, by the way, is how they're going to address the glitch and like the Thanos snap with Deadpool. Like, because obviously if he's now officially going to be in the MCU, which they're going to do something to introduce him in, like someone at some point is going to have questions, be like, well, where the hell were you like 5 years ago? And like, where was Wolverine in that time? Where's like all the other mutants at? Like, where have they been the last 5 years?
Yeah.
So it's a good point about She-Hulk, by the way, because I've not seen any of that series yet. And
don't.
I don't want to.
Yeah, is that the nicest way to put that? Don't.
Right.
Oh
yeah,
my gosh. If you're in the comments, can you leave a thumbs up if you're watching She-Hulk? Thumbs down if you're not, because
no
I'm so
down.
curious.
Thumbs up only here. Let's support Jamie Lee. Get the likes on. Come on, guys.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, it's terrible. I'm sorry. I'm trying to like it the best I can, but it is so terrible. And that's why I'm so excited for Deadpool, because I just think it's going to be funny. Like, finally, we're
Right.
going to get something in the MCU that you can laugh at without it being cringy. And you're sitting around going like, is that a joke? Like, am I supposed to laugh at that or what? Because the whole time in She-Hulk, that's me. I'm sitting there going, I know that was a joke. I know that they meant for that to be funny, but that's not funny. And I don't know if it's just me or if it's everybody, but I don't like it.
I think, being honest with you, it's Disney in general. Like, one thing I've found is 20th Century Fox, as much as everyone shits on their movies and the amount of X-Men movies they made that were like terrible and everything like that, they produced one of the funniest superhero movies, Deadpool.
Yeah.
And even in Deadpool 2, it's pretty funny also. So, like, how Marvel haven't made a funnier movie than that yet, I don't know. Like I heard about She-Hulk that had like Megan the Stallion, and I'm like, who the fuck's Megan the Stallion? You know?
Another thing too, to do with the She-Hulk sort of thing. So Titania from She-Hulk, so she's supposed to be, I don't even want to say a villain, because I'm going to be perfectly honest, we don't freaking have a villain yet in She-Hulk. Like, we are almost 8 eps in, I'm pretty sure. And hello. Okay. One entrance. Yeah, go girl. And what was I saying now? Oh, Titania. Anyway, so there's no villain so far in She-Hulk. Well, they're leading to it, but we're like 7 eps or 8 eps in. Oh, next week is episode 8, right? Episode 8, and there's 9 episodes. So there's 2 episodes left, and we still don't even know who the bad guy is, which really frustrates me. Anyway, Titania is sort of like she fights with She-Hulk, and in Secret Wars, again, going back to the comics, Titania is a villain in that. So,
okay.
Yeah, I just wonder if, they're going to continue. Maybe she is a villain and we just haven't sort of seen it yet. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going off track there with the She-Hulk stuff. That's not the point. The point is, I'm really excited for Deadpool 3.
Same.
Yeah.
But actually, I am going to mention one thing. When you mentioned about Titania, I guess that kind of is a little bit of a good plug to go into Armored Wars.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about Marvel TV series as a Marvel right now. Yeah, so I know Armored Wars is on the list, by the way, of like discussions to talk about. Now, hands up to everyone who's watching right now. I don't know anything really about Armored Wars, so Jamie's gonna have to like explain that before I can kind of comment a bit.
Yeah, well, with that one, we can move on to that if you want.
Yeah, well, we're on Marvel, aren't we? So
on the topic.
Yeah, I think Armored Wars is a good one. I know it's about War Machine. I think we were saying just before the stream, but that's all I know.
Yeah.
Can
you see that on my screen there or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so this was from the Marvel website. They say that Armor Wars was stated to be a Disney Plus series with Cheadle reprising his long-term role as Rhodey, but it's now being made into a theatrical release rather than a Disney Plus series.
Right. And is it just about him, or is it about an army of people in Iron Man suits, such, or?
I can't read that last bit because there's a little window there saying stop your sharing. So I can't read it, but I know that there is a message at the bottom of that says, I'll read it without that being on there.
Sure.
So the brand new logo for Armor Wars was revealed with the title asking the question, what happens if Tony Stark's tech falls into the wrong hands? So that's the sort of storyline that they're going with there. Okay. What do you think of that? Do you think that, going from what would be a, let's say, 6-hour, because most Marvel series lately are around the 6 episode mark, which I think is ridiculous. But anyway, that's what they are. And I can't really complain because hell, we got a 9 episode one with She-Hulk and it's freaking terrible. So, yeah. I don't know if I do want more. I was complaining I wanted more the whole time, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so they're going from like a 6-hour script down to, let's say, a 2. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so for me, right out the get-go, I'm just going to be open and honest here. I've never liked Don Cheadle's character in Marvel.
Okay.
I just, not to say I don't like Don Cheadle, he's a fantastic actor in general. It's just like his character, though, has never been interesting. He's always been like Iron Man's lackey. I personally think they should have killed him off in Civil War. Like, that was like such a powerful moment when he fell like from that height, and I was like, that gives Iron Man all the more purpose to go after, like, you know, that battle in general. That would have added more to the stakes to be like his best friend's dead.
Yeah, like a bit of incentive.
But like, if you think about it, right, and please quote me if I'm wrong, and anyone watching this right now, quote me if I'm wrong, but what has he actually done that's been so useful in all these movies?
Yeah.
Like, anything? Like, generally, tell me if I'm wrong, but has he done anything good?
I don't think, I would have to go back and rewatch, but I think it's just the fact that he was, as you said, he's been around since what, 2008, I think Iron Man came out in. So well, technically he wasn't in that one, but anyway, his character, sorry, that still hurts, I'm sure it does. Anyway, so in 2000, like, he's been around, loyalty is my only answer there. Like, he's been around a long time. They're going to reward him with the fact that, you know, he gets his own series, or now his own like feature length movie. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it'll link in with other things. I don't know, other MCU projects. But I'm with you. I don't. Was anyone really asking for him to get his own series?
Nah. This seems as if it's another one like a Black Widow movie. This is 5 or 7 years too late. Like Black Widow, we didn't need a solo movie. We got it, which came far too late. The only purpose of that movie was to introduce Yelena. That's literally it for that movie. That I never felt like, oh, Black Widow really got the movie she deserved to have. They left. To my personal opinion, I might be wrong. Again, people can argue that. So with Armor Wars, like, how many times have they done a storyline where Tony Stark's technology buggers them in the arse? Like, the latest one, Spider-Man No Way Home, when he had that contraption to fix Doc Ock. Green Goblin and Electro got the power, and he got it right on here, and it nearly screwed up Spider-Man. You know, but Tony Stark's technology when he's dead. You know, so it's just like. Also, one other little thing here I want to add in, and I want to hear your opinion on this. Is it kind of tells me as well, Disney doesn't have much faith in their projects, because if you think about it, right, you've said a perfect example. She-Hulk has 9 episodes. I remember you telling me a couple of weeks back, one of them episodes were like 18 minutes long. Or
close, 25.
Or something,
23 even, maybe,
Right.
Really short.
Right, but normally, like, 45, 47 minutes long? Like, something like that? So, I mean, if they're reducing a 6-hour, which would have been like 6 episodes probably, condensing the 40-odd minutes episodes, I would have thought. If they're condensing that into a movie, I think that kind of screams to me that they didn't have enough material to make it into a limited series.
Yeah.
Or one that people's going to care about. Because if you think about it, all the TV series that they produced, I would say after, like, Loki as such, they've all been terrible. Like, I don't personally have a rewatch urgency to go check out Hawkeye again, Falcon and Winter Soldier, She-Hulk I've got no interest in at all. Miss Marvel, couldn't give a shit about, being honest with you. So I don't know, like Moon Knight, what a stinker how they ended that, you know? Well, exactly. And these are meant to be the future of Marvel, to tie in all this big universe. But like people like myself, I don't give a crap about them. Like She-Hulk, 8 episodes to introduce a villain out of 9. Like, how bad's that? I could run about this all day, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, well, I agree. I think maybe it's not enough content or ideas that, or again, maybe they're just not confident that, you know, he can hold his own in a series, because it is being shortened to now a movie. And, is that movie gonna hit the cinemas, or will it go straight to Disney Plus? Do you know what I mean? Like, they've got Werewolf by Night coming out soon, I think 5 days.
Right.
And that's going straight to Disney Plus, because they know, let's be honest, no one's running out to watch that Marvel film. I'm not. I don't even know if I'm going to watch it on Disney. I mean, I will watch it, to be fair, because it's Marvel. But what I'm saying is they know they're not going to get the audience. I don't believe that they're going to get the audience backing it to watch it in cinemas. So part of me, and I mean, I could be wrong in 2 years' time, let's see, but part of me thinks that this will be the same and just go straight to Disney Plus. Won't hit cinemas,
Right.
won't do anything.
Right.
And as you said, part of that also is because it feels like they don't really have enough confidence in whether it's, I'm not saying it's his character or his role specifically, it might be they don't have confidence in the series in general, because they're starting to flunk. I'm pretty sure She-Hulk was like the least watched one. The ratings are really bad for that at the moment. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite sure, but
Hey Drew, what's up? I just think for me, being honest with you, Jamie, I think for me, like, I love Marvel, always have. I prefer DC, like that I've always said that. But I think for me, like, this latest phase in Marvel, like after Spider-Man No Way Home, it's just been an absolute shit show. Like, it's just they're introducing all these new characters, not really connecting all the dots in yet, and then they're introducing even more characters. And I think, of course they had to adjust to like COVID and have like movies straight on Disney Plus, or maybe introduce a series, like something brand new. But I just feel like it's all over the shop right now. And like She-Hulk's just another product of that. The only thing I'm looking forward to is Black Panther, because at least that links in to somewhat degree, and like all of us are interested. Okay, well, how are they going to continue this without Chadwick? Like, what are they going to do with that? And of course, we're not seeing like Shuri since like Endgame and stuff. So we're like, okay, well, what's happened to her since Endgame? Like, how's Chadwick died? Are they going to address that kind of thing? Like that's the only one. But like, I don't know. I'm just not bothered, and that's why I've been open here and said, look, I've not watched She-Hulk, I've not watched Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel, all I need to know was the post-credit scenes, and I know what's happening in the series. She-Hulk, I've heard they've introduced like a Daredevil tease like 4 episodes ago and just not even brought him in yet. So I'm like, well, why have you teased him and then he's not going to be into like episode 9, probably in the last 5 minutes?
Apparently he's going to be in episode 8, so he's going to be in the next episode.
Oh, okay.
But I would not be surprised if it's for like 5 minutes, like a proper cameo.
Right.
Nothing big, nothing major, because nothing big and nothing major has happened in this whole freaking episode, besides from the fact that Hulk is, now in a spaceship heading to whatever next project we're going to see Hulk in. But again, like, I don't want to be too harsh on it. Oh, I am harsh on it because it fucking sucks. I'm going to be brutally honest that it fucking sucks. But it will, I'm hoping, link in with future stuff. Like, we know that She-Hulk is going to be in future things. I mentioned even maybe, I don't know if they're going to go that route or not, but with that Titania in the comics, she is a villain in Secret Wars. So Avengers Secret Wars, what did I say? 2025, I think. So I don't know if they're going to link her in or not. They might not, because she kind of really isn't even a baddie in this one, in She-Hulk. But they could. Do you know what I mean? And that means that therefore She-Hulk could be in Secret Wars in the future. So they definitely can link everything in. But yeah, at the moment, as you said, it sort of seems really scattered. Nothing's linking and nothing is working, in my opinion. Like, I don't find Miss Marvel I liked because they tied everything into family. And if they didn't show us that sort of family, like really relate everything to having this family and culture, I really liked that part of Miss Marvel. But She-Hulk, I'm not liking any of it. Like, it's supposed to be attorney at law, and I think we've seen 2 episodes where she's actually in a courtroom doing law work, like law. Yeah, what's the word I'm even looking for? Cases, court cases.
Right.
And And one of the court cases, she didn't even do. She was at a retreat and she let her, I don't know what you call it, like her underdog, her sidekick. I'm not even quite sure what her role is, like a PR role to her. Anyway, she let her do a case with another lady. So it's like they finally had this big case that, we could finally see Jen, She-Hulk, becoming this well, we've seen her become a lawyer, but, finally tackle this case to be a real good lawyer that everybody keeps talking about that she is. And it's like they take her from that scenario and put her in something completely stupid, like going to a retreat or having a spa bath and like just something so dumb. And it's like, what? If it's supposed to be a sitcom, it's not. It's not funny. Sitcoms are supposed to be funny.
I think the issue is, and exactly what that damn vampire said right there, like it's totally true. Well, hi, by the way.
Yeah.
I think for me the biggest issue is when we had Endgame and Spider-Man stuff like that, and when Marvel introduced like say Ant-Man back in the day and Black Panther and stuff like that, we maybe had like one or two movies after that, then that character reappeared again. So it was only like a little bit of time, but it made sense when they reappeared again as to why they've come back or why they're in that situation. Whereas like WandaVision, we saw what happened with Wanda after Endgame, but we didn't see her again until a year and a half later when Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness releases. So it's kind of like, well, like I think the issue is a Marvel TV series. When it first announced, everyone was like, Marvel in a TV series? Like how they're doing that, Like, even myself, I was like, a TV series? Okay, cool. And I think the issue is they've swamped the series so much. Like, it's not as if it's like 2 series a year or 3 a year, where it's like, say, January, June, and November or something like that. It's like January, March, May, July, September. And it's like it's too much to the point where, it's up to you if you decide to watch them. Ultimately, you need to kind of know about them for future events. But as you mentioned, if we're not going to see She-Hulk now until 2025, like, what's the point? Like, okay, so people's going to be like, okay, so for 2.5 years, what the hell has she been up to? I think I heard a rumor the other day, and I might be wrong, that she might be in Captain America 4. I think that's what I heard the other day.
Yeah, right. Well, that's still 2024. Like, it's still Phase 5, isn't it?
Yeah, well, exactly. So if that's the case, a year and a half later, she pops up in Captain America, and it's like, well, where have you been for a year and a half? Or that Tatiana? Like, hey, how you doing?
I don't even know if Tatiana's going to be in it. I'm just, throwing ideas out that, these people can pop up in future things and can link in. And I do, like, I don't agree with this, saying that after Endgame, that's it to wrap it all up. I think there's a whole lot of story.
We had Spider-Man No Way Home. We had Spider-Man No Way Home after Endgame, and that was terrific.
That worked. Yeah, and I definitely think there's a story to tell. There's definitely more comics that need to be heard and things like that, and like the narrative should go on, but it needs to go on a little bit differently than it is, I think, because at the moment, as you said, the series aren't working, or I don't think that they are. I mean, they did start strong. I really think that they did start strong. I loved WandaVision. I really did. And then after that, we had Falcon and the Winter Soldier first, I think, and then Loki. Yeah. And all 3 of them I really liked. I know a lot of people say that maybe Falcon and the Winter Soldier should have been made into a movie rather than a series. And I kind of can see that because it did drag at parts, but I did like them series. But again, as you said, it's not really linking in when you get to the sort of Miss Marvel things, that didn't link in to anything before. It will in the future, the Marvels are going to be coming out and she's going to be in that. Kamala's going to be in. So it will link to stuff in the future. But at the moment, I think they just got to put things out and, introduce these characters to people. And it's really hard because you've got people like me that are like, I fucking hate it. Oh, I hate it. And a lot of judgmental people out there. But hopefully they can just do a little bit better with regards to the series and things, but anyway, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, well, going on to all of this, Jamie, I think it kind of leads back to the ultimate topic, which is about Armor Wars. And maybe, as we've been discussing, maybe that's why they're turning this into a movie, because they're realizing the series aren't working.
Yeah.
Or like, as you said, like She-Hulk's become like the lowest like rated one or lowest viewed. So then the numbers aren't up. That's not going to attract audiences to check out the product.
Yeah.
And as I say, like, if there's people like myself out there who just don't care to watch that product, at the end of that series, worst cases, I'll come to you and I'll be like, "Oh, Jamie, what happened in She-Hulk?" Or I'll go on YouTube and just be like, "She-Hulk explained," or do you mean like something like that?
Yeah.
And I get the same information in a 30-minute video to 9 episodes of pure shit.
Yeah.
You know.
Speaking of pure shit, let's move on to this.
Okay, what's this a segue to? Oh, wow,
Heard
okay.
has defamed Mr. Depp by calling him an abuser.
Look, man, look what she said about me.
It's day one of the Depp versus Heard defamation trial. Though the fans are showing support for both sides, there's clearly a favorite here.
The drug use and the medications had gotten so bad, and it scared me.
Girl just wants some attention.
It didn't happen.
Borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder.
Another one with James Franco.
Are you jealous of him too?
This is not life. No one should have to go through this.
I'm so tired of this. I can't keep doing it.
This trial, it's about the truth.
It did tell the truth.
I have the right to say what happened to me.
They listen to her lies, her allegations.
Your Honor, may we introduce the next tape?
Can't wait to see what's next.
What do you think of that? Pure trash, right? I'm sorry, that's a bit brutal, but sorry guys, great work.
Wow.
I knew that they would try and make money out of this. Everybody knows they would try to make money out of it. Absolutely. Of course, they would, you know, it was to be expected. I did not expect it to be this soon after the case. And I didn't expect it to be so like low budget. I kind of thought like Netflix or somebody would jump on the bandwagon of this and try and make money off it. I've never heard of that platform before in my life. Tubi, is it? You don't have it in the UK?
I don't think so. I don't know if it's part of a streaming service, but like where you can watch movies, but sometimes they put like ads on throughout the movie kind of thing. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's an American thing, I think.
Yeah, it's American. And I don't think we have it here, so I'm not going to watch it. But would you watch it if if this was like a blockbuster, or if it went to Netflix or something like that? Do you think that's something people are really interested in?
I think if it was more like a documentary, maybe.
Well, I'm pretty sure they have made 2 documentaries since then, or they're coming out or something. But this is like just a fictional thing.
I think for me is like, so that's the first time I've ever seen a trailer, by the way. I didn't even know about it until you messaged me the notes today to be like, oh, look, we're going to be talking about this. And yeah, Tubi does sound like YouTube.
It does. That's a really good pickup.
Sounds like a cheap knockoff, but I'm
which is probably why the trailer looks that good.
Right. But yeah, I mean, so that's the first. Hey, Trevor. So yeah, that's the first time I've actually generally seen that trailer. The actors and actresses for both parties don't look like either one of them. So straight away, I'm like, that does not look like Johnny Depp. I'm not sold here. I think the issue is for me with that one, right, is we all know about that trial this year, and it was like a talk for a long time. Doesn't it? I mean, it could be Amber Heard, could be like sued for likeness, maybe.
Well, I did hear, and that also is segueing to another one of our topics. But anyway, I did hear that the producer of this Tubi one, the Tubi version or whatever, however you pronounce it, the producers are actually like friends of Amber Heard. Okay. So I wonder if it's maybe sort of not her side of things, but a little bit biased in a way. I'm not going to watch it, so I'll never know. And it is actually out now. It came out 2 days ago. So if you are in the comments, even after this live, please like let us know if you've watched it and if it's crap, or if if it is biased to one side or whatever. I personally did not watch any of the actual court case, right? I did see like the funny clips that people made, the memes. I think there was like a bee one, like a bee bit my dog or something like that, stung my dog from Amber. I watched all that funny stuff, but I did not watch the case. I have no idea what went down. I really don't want to know, because the stuff that I did hear was like, man, these guys need to get off the drugs. But
right.
My thing is, why wouldn't people just watch the case? Do you know what I mean? Like, the case went for 6 weeks. Like, that's practically a series in itself. Why would people want this made into like a feature-length movie? I don't get that part. What do you think?
Nah, I think this is purely like a project that's been made to capitalize on something that was popular, like at the times. Like, yourself, like, I'm right there with you. I watched like all the funny highlights and that, like every day there'd be someone like compile like a minute video, be like, here's today's highlights of like a mega pint, or whatever the case should have been.
Yeah.
Like so we saw all of that. So I think right now, for me, I think it's too fresh to make a documentary on it, or like a mini series.
I think it's way too soon. Like, I feel like this shit just ended and now someone's made a movie of it.
Right. Like I think like something like this, right, is the fact of whatever happens in a trial, that's happened now. Johnny Depp won at the end of the day. Everyone knows that. And both parties are probably respectively just trying to move on with their life. And the last thing they need is like a fake documentization, or like her take on another story that we've already heard, or his take on another story. Like, we don't need it.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, it looks like it's so cheaply made. Also, I would rather, if they were going to cover this trial again, which no one is clamoring for this stuff to be
right. Like, who wants this shit? Who actually is there any people out there that actually genuinely want to watch a movie of this? Because I really don't believe that there are. I really don't.
Like, so for example, right? So this is a perfect example of a documentary that's just been released here in the UK at the moment. So in the UK at the moment, you may have heard of this. I can't remember what it's called, but it's literally a recreation by Kenneth Branagh of our former Prime Minister Boris Johnson during COVID.
Okay.
Right. So basically, at the start of COVID, obviously, when no one knew what was going on and stuff like that, right? Like, our Prime Minister and like all of these scandals and like stuff like that, right? I'll comment on this in a second. So basically, all that started in like March 2020. Kenneth Branagh has created a limited series for like a network here in the UK, where it's literally all about the government at the time dealing with COVID when it started. And I'm like who asked to see that former Prime Minister? Like, no one liked him.
Yeah.
So
nobody wants to see that.
Well, that's on TV at the minute. So for me, I'm just like not going to watch it because I'm not interested in it. Now, don't get me wrong. Maybe in 5-10 years down the line, hey, goodbye. Hope you're doing good. It's the same thing like this Johnny Depp one, right? Say in 5 years down the line, then I might be like, oh, okay, like a documentary on the Amber Heard case. Okay, well, 5 years has gone by. What new information is there,
Yeah, when it's died off a bit, but it's too fresh for it's just a money-making thing. And looking at the trailer, is it a money-making thing? Like, how much money are you going to make off people watching this? Because I can't see a hell of a lot of people doing it. I really can't. I mean, as I said, it's been out for 2 days now, and I haven't seen anybody do a review on it or anybody talk about it. It was purely by coincidence that I saw something pop up on my screen, on my Facebook, I think it might have been, about, this new trial or new movie based on the trial. And I was like, huh? A movie already? So, yeah, I don't think it's going to go too well.
Right. But to be honest with you, before the stream, I didn't even know about it myself. I said I've never seen any trailers for it, so I didn't even know what was happening. It literally, as you said, this looks like the asylum version of what the Depp and Heard trial is. And you are my you see my channel, I cover asylum movies that rip off big blockbusters.
Yeah.
This sounds like that, but
it does.
Made documentary.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a comment in here. Probably just Die Hard, Heard, and Depp fans will watch it. I'm going to lead that in with the Die Hard stuff. Lead it into my good friend, Bruce Willis.
But yes, by the way, to this comment, yes, Depp could probably sue. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't have the rights for it, yeah, I think definitely something. I'm going to hide that comment so we can see that a little bit better. Yeah, if they weren't allowed to do that, then yeah, I definitely can see them suing. Again, would he want to go through another court case for a little bit of money that's probably not going to be any money to him anyway? Who knows? Anyway, so I thought this was really, really interesting. Can you see my screen? Can you see the picture on my screen?
Yeah.
Cool. So Bruce Willis is the first Hollywood star to sell, I don't want to say himself, but sell his likeness to a company for deepfake. And I didn't even know what deepfake was until this year. I watched a video and somebody did like a Spider-Man, I don't want to say a parody video, but like a fan video. And another person was like reviewing it or talking about, you know, how analyzing it basically. And it got me really interested because I was like, what is this technology? And I formed an opinion of it that it was bad technology because, let me explain what it is. So I'm very proper in that and not just, you know, making it up off the top of my head. But basically, it's synthetic media. So they take images or video of someone and replace it with the likeness of someone else. So, for example, in our little video here, Bruce Willis has sold his likeness so they can use his image or his face or body or whatnot to be transformed, I guess, onto a different performer so that it looks like him. So that's basically how it works. This is a cool little video of how that actually happened. And he was in a commercial for like a phone commercial over in Russia. So this is the commercial and not really how it's done, but just like a little snippet, which I think is really cool.
Sure.
Let's have a look. So this is the advertisement here. I took the sound off because I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
All right. So that's the advertisement. The guy on the left, obviously, is the guy that they used. He is the actual performer. And then they just put Bruce Willis's face or likeness. There's no sound, Temmie. They, transferred that onto, obviously, the video image. I think, firstly, that is amazing that technology can do that.
Right.
But is it a good thing that technology can do that? Like in this circumstance, Bruce Willis has obviously given his permission because he has, is it aphasia, something like that? You know, that affects their ability to listen, talk, read. Obviously, you need all those things being an actor. So he can't continue his career. So this is sort of one way for his career to, I guess, continue without him continuing. You know, sort of like his legacy continuing maybe. Do you think that this technology is good, or do you think ethically it's wrong?
No, I think it's an interesting take. So a fun fact here that you may not know is the whole thing about like a law about likeness actually started with Back to the Future.
Okay.
So what happened was in the first Back to the Future, Crispin Glover plays George McFly, but he wanted to be in the second movie. Obviously, they asked him to be back in the second movie, but he wanted a pay rise, and at the time they just said, no, we're not giving you the money. So what happened was they recasted him with Jeffrey Wiseman, but in the second movie, because the actor looked like him from 1985, Crispin sued Back to the Future to say, look, you've used my likeness without permission.
Yeah, right.
That's how the law came around about using actors' likenesses for like sequels.
Right.
Because of Back to the Future and because of that incident. So, in terms of a deep fake, have you seen the Back to the Future deep fake before?
No, but I will now.
Cool. So basically, Tom Holland deep fakes as Marty McFly, and Robert Downey Jr. deep fakes as Christopher Lloyd, and it looks so good. Looks really good. Yeah. But now the thing is, in terms of your question, if this is a good idea or if it's not really a good idea, I think it depends on who is portraying Bruce Willis. Because I was telling my partner Emma about this earlier, and we were saying like, "Oh, look, it's a cool idea," but at the same time, that person has got to be able to act. Because by all means, they may look like Bruce Willis, but if they don't kind of act like he would in his past movies, people straight away is going to be like, "Well, that's not Bruce Willis. That's an insult to his image, or that's an insult to his acting abilities and stuff." So, like,
I mean, even straight away, I looked at that and I thought the actual advertisement part. Down this way a little bit more. I looked at that and I thought, no way, that doesn't even look like Bruce Willis anyway, because he looks young as shit. You know, so I mean, I don't know. Maybe some people it's believable to them, but yeah, I don't know. I look at that and I think that's a very, very young Bruce Willis, if that is Bruce Willis. And I just think maybe it's just a way for them to keep making money. I don't know. But to me, I think it's wrong because I feel like people can use this technology to sort of make fan videos or, I don't know, just make all these illusions of people and actors. And I just think that takes away from their actual performance and their actual abilities, you know, like with this Spider-Man one that I said I saw, it was super well done, but it's like, you know, if people think that that is the real Spider-Man, it sort of takes away from Andrew Garfield or like Tom Holland at the moment and their performances. You know, if you just shove someone else's face on it because they look the same and say, "Oh, it's Spider-Man," or "Oh, it's," in your case, you know, someone from Back to the Future. It's cool technology, and it's amazing that they can do these sort of things with the technology. But we agree. But yeah, I don't think it's the right thing to do. And as I said, in this case, he's obviously given his permission and he's sold himself basically to these people to say, you know, you can use me on commercials and I think short films and things like that. So yeah, I think good on him, you know, that he can keep continuing with his career without technically continuing his career, because he literally wasn't anywhere where that commercial was filmed, you know. It was filmed in Russia. And he wasn't there.
What I would add to this, right, is like I kind of agree with you that it's a bit of an insult for sure. I think for me, I think if it's done in the right channels, so for example, you know, he's obviously had a chat with Deepfake, signed a contract, you know, whatever the case should be, and being paid millions, or he's getting paid royalties every time he uses likeness, whatever. I think for me, if that was the case, if I was in his position, I was Bruce Willis, I couldn't act anymore. But obviously his passion is acting, you know, like all these actors and actresses that we love, that's their life, you know, everyday life is they go to some set and perform a gig. I think for me, if I was to do that, I would sign it away, but I'd want to authorize every project like that was going to be in. So, for example, I was like, right, it can only be used for movies only, for example. I would want to, like, see what that was being used for. Yeah. Like that guy in Russia, it looks nothing like him. It looks like David Walliams. So if that was me, I'd be like, well, that's just insulting to me because it doesn't look like me.
In his case, he actually said he was really pleased with it because it allowed him to go back in time. And in my mind, I was like, yeah, literally, because you look like 20. Like, well, I mean, you don't look like you.
But even if he's going back in time, if you look at an image from him from Die Hard, the first movie,
he still doesn't look like that.
That does not look like him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he's happy with that, like, you know, for me, if he's happy with that, it's only going to be a matter of time until the Asylum, who mockbuster all the big blockbusters, are going to put him as a deepfake in their movies, and be like,
Yeah.
starring Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Like, for me,
Yeah.
that would be an insult because I'd be like, well, they're just going to use it to mockbuster me in movies, you know?
Yeah.
In a way, it's quite a cool concept because for me, you know how much I love Michael J. Fox and Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Now, Michael J. Fox can't act full time anymore because of Parkinson's.
Yeah.
So if he was to also sell his rights for deepfake, but approve the, like, for example, like Tom Holland could play a young Michael J. Fox just with the face obviously on him.
Mhm.
Like, for me, I'd probably be happy with that because he can convey his performance.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, after this stream, watch him in that deepfake. It's so good.
Yeah.
So like something like that, I'd be like, wow, well, I'm happy for him to represent like that because it looks like me. It's the same mannerisms and everything like that. But it's like, imagine putting Andrew Lincoln's face. It's like Andrew Lincoln, but Bruce Willis's face on him. Like, it wouldn't go.
Yeah.
So like something like that, I'd be like, but that's just an insult.
Yeah. I can see why Bruce has done it, you know, to continue on. And obviously he's got health issues and things. So I understand that. But as you said, I think that it takes away from, their performance. And I don't necessarily think it's insulting, but I don't know. I just, you know, every time that I do something, I want to be doing it to the best of my ability. And if you're not doing it, you don't know, as you said, how that is really being used and how it's being portrayed. Like, we look at that advertisement and go, that's not him. You know, like,
yeah.
He's got a different reaction to it, obviously, because it's making him feel good and go back in time. But yeah, how are other people looking at it and seeing it and things like that? And I don't know. I just don't think it's good. I think it's great technology. Don't get me wrong. I think it's amazing that people can do this, but I don't think it should be done, to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah,
you know, it's one something else I just wanted to add to exactly what you said. I agree with you. Hey Riley, is I think it depends on the actor and how it's used. Because, for example, we recently watched Cobra Kai season 5, and they used the de-aging effect on the person to look like young Johnny Lawrence.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, in that scene, the person was just sat down, so you can't really be like, oh, he's kind of like ready to fight LaRusso. He was just sat down. Whoever the real person was sat down, so it made no difference. You just saw a face. I don't think they talked, or they had like 1 or 2 lines, and like that was it. So like something like that, it's like, oh, okay, cool. You know, they use like a likeness of, you know, William Zabka, but just a younger version of him, for example. So that's cool. But I think with Bruce Willis, if you looked at it as like his like later filmography, all he did was like directed DVD movies. So to me, that kind of screams to me like he doesn't care about his acting anymore. Or like he's not really bothered by like being like, right, I'm not accepting these low roles. I want a big budget role. I want a big, I'm the main star kind of role still, you know? Because he's got a big name. Everyone knows who Bruce Willis is, even if you don't like him. Everyone knows who he is. So by him selling the deep fake, and especially with him being happy about that Russian one, I mean, to me, it kind of screams like he's like, oh, just put me in any movie you want still and I'll be happy. Because you'll be getting a royalty from this, you'll be getting some big royalties from this, you know?
Yeah.
So
just put me in, show me the money.
Right.
Let's do Jim Carrey's line.
Right. Whereas in the future, I think because he's started this, and say if, like, for example, say Michael J. Fox did it next, I think it depends on the actor or actress, because there will be some actors and actresses be like, as I said before, might be like, right, I want to approve every project that wants to use my likeness. And if I'm not happy with it, don't include me in that movie. So I think like if there's other people come forward and do this in the future and they're more picky about it, I think that would then set a standard for anyone else who wants to do it afterwards.
Yeah.
Because they'd be like, oh, well, hold on. So Michael J. Fox appeared in, I don't know, Cobra Kai season 10. But hold on, like it actually looked like him, the same mannerisms and stuff like that. They'd be like, oh, wow, okay, I would have never thought that's a stunt double playing Michael J. Fox or something, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it depends how it's used.
Yeah, that's fair enough. All right. Well, that covers our entertainment sort of topics there. But I did want to talk about what two things that we've watched this week or fortnight that you think that somebody should 100% watch, like must watch?
Okay.
What have you watched?
Okay. Well, so the reason at the start of the stream I was looking off like this for a little bit is I had to pull up my letterbox because I forgot what I've watched.
You've watched too many being back from holidays.
Well, believe it or not, like this week I've actually watched like quite a few ideas. Well, thank you for the idea, by the way. Right. So am I telling you just stuff the people should watch, or just what I've watched this week?
I think what people should watch. Yeah, two things that you think people should watch.
Okay. I'm just looking at my list on the laptop while I'm here. So let's have a look. Okay. So what have I given good ratings to? All right. Yeah. Okay. So a movie I watched this week that's actually in cinemas right now, I think in most places, is Smile. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
The horror one.
Yeah.
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 She's a therapist or something.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, I think that movie, for anyone who's like likes horror or doesn't mind horror too much, I think should check out Smile, because it's just a simple concept about like this kind of. I can't go too much into his spoilers, but
yes,
basically, who would have ever thought like a smile would be like really creepy? You know,
I don't know. I've seen Homelanders in The Boys sometimes, and that was pretty creepy.
Right, they should have used him for the marketing. So yeah, I think Smile is like a horror movie. I think it's like a quite cool concept. Think of
Sorry, Tyler just coming in with a banger. Oh, I love it.
Well, hey,
he sold his deep fake to Smile too.
Well, hey, why not, right?
Oh, sold his likeness. That's great, Tyler. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah. No, it's cool. No, it's cool. So yeah, so Smile, I would say like anyone who likes horror or doesn't mind the horror, like I thought was a entertaining movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
This one right here, Tammy.
But it's true though, right? So like if you see a creepy smile like Homelander, you're like, wow, like how creepy is that to someone doing a smile, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like, you know, if you watch a 2-hour movie of people doing that, you'd be kind of creeped out a little bit. Right.
Yeah, right.
And then another movie I watched this week, well, sorry, like in the last kind of week or so, but I'm going to say this week, is I watched Avatar.
Okay. Like rewatched or watched in general?
Yeah, I watched Avatar. Have you seen it?
Way back in the day, yeah. Yeah. I mean,
do you like it?
I think the graphic, like it looks good, but everybody hyped it up to be like the best movie ever. And I'm like, I don't feel it. Like I'm not. And even Avatar 2 coming up, I'm like, I mean, that looks beautiful on the screen. But again, I'm not like, oh, can't wait to watch Avatar 2.
Right.
I'm not. You know, and maybe that's because I'm so Marvel orientated. You know, I'm like, oh, Black Panther or something. But yeah, I don't know. What about you? You really like it?
Yeah, I really like the movie. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm with you when people's like, oh, it's an epic masterpiece. Maybe for like 2009 when it was first released, I can see it like being a massive masterpiece, you know, because visually different than what I've seen before. I will say
that's
that.
Right. Yeah.
But I think in like terms of like now, so I've seen like parts of Avatar before, like at different times. So they've just recently re-released it in 4K. So I was like, right, well, I'm actually going to sit down and watch the full movie and get like the full like viewing experience watching it.
Yeah.
And it was so good. And like, you know, I can see like visually, like this world is really enticing. It's beautiful to look at.
Yeah.
So I really loved it. And then after the movie finished in like the Marvel style, like post-credit scene, is they actually had a scene from Avatar 2. And the reason it's taken so long to film it is because, you know how they use like motion capture for like Thanos, like Josh Brolin and stuff? Well, basically, James Cameron wants to use motion capture, but underwater, which has never been done before.
Right.
So there was a scene at the post-credit, which was literally motion capture underwater, which is the first time in Hollywood ever. And it looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And
that would explain that crazy gap that Trevor's talking about.
And I can see why by like that 1 5-minute scene alone, if 5 minutes. Like if the whole movie's like that, then I can see like why it's going to be like another like visual masterpiece for maybe like another 10 years, and people would be like, it was maybe for its time kind of thing,
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what he's done, like what Trevor says, like the crazy gaps. But I know he's filmed like Avatar 3 on the back of this, so that's coming out in like 2 years' time after this one. And I think he's planning to release them like 2 years after each other, so it's not like 12 years between them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Avatar. So for me, I give it like 4 out of 5 stars. I thought like it was a really good movie. Definitely some negatives for sure. I'm not going to say it's a perfect movie. But yeah, I watched that recently, so I'd say if anyone who's not watched it for a while, maybe give it another go in like the 4K.
Yeah. Sorry, just had to chuck that comment up there. I actually love, I genuinely love panthers as an animal. So yeah, yes, my team is the Panthers. Yes, Black Panther does relate to that, but that's not why I'm excited for that movie. I genuinely want to see Black Panther too, not just because it's my team. But anyway, so you do the movie side of things. You watch a lot of movies. I watch a lot of series. I'm not even sure if you guys get 3D is Dead. I haven't watched a 3D movie in forever.
Well, the funny thing is when I actually saw Avatar the other week in 4K, it was in 3D.
Really?
Right.
So it's not dead.
Well, it's dying. I'll put it that way. But to be fair, like 3D has evolved quite a lot since last time we saw a 3D movie. It's not the red and blue glasses anymore. It's literally just a black glasses. It's like see-through frames now. And the movie's not like completely, like how bad the 3D was back when we watched it.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of more like seamless, like not too bad. Like if you took your glasses off, you can still see pretty much what's happening.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. The 3D, I would say, if you're going to watch anything in 3D ever, Avatar.
It's probably the one to watch, yeah.
Because it's not like back in the day when like someone sprayed some water and it'll come out the screen at you. Like the 3D in this movie was like, say if we're talking now, the 3D would be like, say if I'm a little bit backwards, this chair would be popping out a little bit more, so it looks like it's like more in scene.
Yeah.
So it was doing really well.
Yeah, they still have that. I think they call it 4D in movie world. Yeah, and they do that whole, as you said, like spray the water and your seats, jiggle around a bit and things like that. They do that at Movie World. They've got a theater in there. I think it's Scooby-Doo at the moment that they that they're plugging. And don't get me wrong, I love those sort of experiences. I think they're quite fun. But yeah, I do agree. 3D is definitely dying down. Yeah, that's what I just said, Tammy. At Movie World there, they've got the theater, which is really cool. So yeah, good to see that that's still living on. I don't know for how long, but yeah, very cool. Anyway, the shows that I've been watching this.
Oh, cool. Never heard that one.
I've never heard of Turtle's Tale, but I love turtles. Well, I gotta watch that. I've watched Heartbreak High. Do you have that on your Netflix or no?
Is that about horses at all? Or?
No, not at all. It is a Australian high school drama series, but it is just perfect. Like I hope that this goes to America and the UK and things like that, because it is brilliant. It is so funny, and I think that it's sort of like Sex Education. I know you're a big fan of that, right? So it's pretty much that, like a high school drama series, really, but it's funny and it represents, I believe, every single person in high school. It represents them perfectly. Like, and I know it's based off this old series, also by the same name. I haven't watched that one, but this. Back in the 90s, was it? Okay. Well, I was born in 1990, so I definitely didn't watch it. But yeah, it's really, really good. I hope it goes worldwide because it's really funny, really fantastic. And that is one that I am absolutely bang, 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 bang binging.
Quick question. That Heartbreak High, is it like 6-7 episodes, something like that?
Let me get my Netflix up because I'm not finished yet. I'm still going.
Okay.
8 episodes, yeah.
Okay, so that Heartbreak High, it is on our Netflix.
Good. You
I
need to
saw-
watch it.
Because I was browsing I actually watched the movie last night. And you know at the top when it comes up like recommended or like newly listed or something like that, Heartbreak High was on there. I saw the cover and I was like, oh, that looks all right.
Yeah. I love it. It's
do
very
have
oh good. You'll need to watch it, and in the next 2 weeks let me know what you think, because I mean it's very Australian, like the language, the lingo, the way they talk. Like you'll probably be like, what the fuck did they just say? But it is so funny, and I really think it's a good representation of that this generation. It just tackles everything, absolutely everything, really well. You know, I'm not even going to go into all the different types of people that are represented in film at the moment. You know, whether it's culture or sexuality or whatnot, but every single one of those issues are brought up, and they are brought up well. It is so good. Oh, that's so good. Happy
awesome.
anniversary. That's
Congrats,
so nice.
man.
That's cool. 2
And he's
years.
got that logo picture there as well as this thumbnail.
Yeah. How relevant to what we're talking about today. I love it. Well, congratulations, Drew. The other one is the other movie that the other series that I'm watching, which I'm not watching as fast as Heartbreak High because I love it, but I still do like it, is the Jeffrey Dahmer movie Monster. Oh my Lord. I know you said Emma watched it and she loved it, but I do like it, but holy crap. I definitely recommend watching it, but I don't recommend binge watching it because I've done 2.5 episodes. So I stopped at 2 because I was like, I don't think I'll be able to sleep too well after this. So I stopped and I went back and watched Heartbreak High, which is very happy and very funny. So I watched an episode of that to sort of break it up a bit. And I started watching episode 3 and then something else came up. But I said to Elliot, a friend of both of ours on the channel, that I'll do 2 episodes at a time. I won't do any more than 2 because it is full on. Like, I don't normally watch this stuff because I watch movies and TV shows to escape real life. Like, I know the world is bad. I know there are bad people out there, and I don't want to know that. Like, I want to forget that happens, which is really bad probably, but I want to escape from that. And when I watch things like this, I'm like, oh, it's so real. You know, like not only real in the sense that these things did happen, these people did die, but there are sick people out there. There are people that get away with things. There are racist people. There are police that don't do their job properly. There's so many issues in this series that is real, and I hate that. Like, I like the movie, the series, sure, but I hate the realness of it. But if you can stomach disgusting stuff and can sort of watch a movie and then, you know, take yourself out of that movie, which usually I can't, which is why I have to watch something else, then this is definitely something that you should watch because, I think it's fascinating. The stuff, fascinating is a nice word. I should use a different word there, but I think it's interesting the things that he did and how he got away with it for so long. And just mainly the things that he did. It's really crazy and really sick, but very interesting. Have you watched it?
Not yet. No, I've heard like that kind of stuff you've said. That exactly explains this series. And you know, I've heard it's like one of those that's like a bit of a tough watch. It doesn't kind of hold back on some of the content it has. So for me, like I don't mind that kind of stuff. Like I love horror. I tend to get more kind of like, you know, kind of like if people in reality tell me like they're going for like an operation. So like my brother-in-law was like, oh, I'm gonna go have like a cataract operation. I was like, no, don't even tell me.
Don't talk to me.
Like, because like especially like if it's like about the eye. Oh, well, here's a little story for you. Actually, I'm not going to take too long. Basically, in September 2020, I had to have a surgery on my nose, on the inner of my nose, because like one side was bigger than the other. So like I was like to breathe on one side of my nostrils, and it was like a deviated septum at the time. I was kind of like born with it. So So what happened was, and I never forget this day. It was like in the middle of winter, or like near enough winter. It was like really cold. It always is here in the UK anyway.
Sure.
And I was sat in this waiting room because the doctor said to me, "You need to go to the specialist, and they're gonna like explain the procedure to you because you've never had a surgery before." So I was like, "All right, cool, no worries." And they're like, "It should take like 20 minutes." I was like, "All right, fine, cool. If it's gonna get me my nose sorted, then great."
Yeah, if you could breathe, that would be good.
Right. So what happened was I went in this surgery room and met this lovely woman, doctor. She seemed really nice. And she's like, so do you know about the procedure? I was like, nah, not really. I was like, just put me to sleep and I'll be all right, I was like, I don't want to know, And it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have to like break the inside of the nose. I was like, no. I was like, no. And here I am like this, right? My jacket is on, and all you can see is just like the sweat down. It was not pleasant at all, right? So like literally the sweat was going down. She's like, "Are you all right?" It's like, no, not really. And I basically had to sign a document to be like, "Oh yeah, I understand like the precautions," and because she was explaining like something like if it went wrong, this is what could happen and stuff like that. So I was like, here I am, like sweating like this. Like my jacket zipped all the way up, and I'm feeling sick. I was just like, I literally signed the paper, and I was like, right, bye. No word of a lie. That's what happened. So going back to Dharma, like that kind of stuff, I don't mind watching it on TV, even if it's based on true story. But real life stuff, I'm no good.
Yeah. Well, that's the part that makes me feel really sad is that it is from real life. You know what I mean? I mean, sure, it's not like a documentary, and some of it is. I don't want to say fiction, but it is dramatized and things like that. Right. But for entertainment purposes, which is again makes people want to watch it. But like the real core of it is this guy was bad. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I really feel really sorry for the victims and the things that he did. It just makes me so scared to think that's what people in the world do. I mean, this guy did that in back in the days. Do you know what I mean? Like technology and things have gotten so much better. Like imagine what other sick fucks would be doing now, like I just don't even want to think about it. But
right.
Yeah, anyway, very, very brutal show. But anyway, that's what I'm watching at the moment. Hopefully I finish it soon.
See, the thing for me is like, so like as you said perfectly, like I watch more movies, you watch more TV, so it's like it's a good discussion between us because we're watching something different.
Yeah.
I find it hard sometimes to spare that time to watch a series compared to a movie.
Yeah.
Because for me, like I like to like be out and about even on my days off, even if it is me taking a little trip to the cinema. So like I don't get like a lot of time where I can just sit down and like sit and watch like a 10-episode series like Dharma is, maybe an hour long.
Yeah.
So at some point I'll get to Dharma, but it's just like I've got so many other series to watch. And I can't watch them before I get to Dharma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. So what are you looking forward to watching movie-wise in the next 2 weeks before we chat again? Or we'll chat again, but before we chat here again.
Yeah. So yeah, movie-wise, I'm not actually. Oh, I tell you what, I'm actually going to. Let's have a look.
Yeah, we talked about this in our private chat thing. I had not heard of this movie, and yeah, she's like, "Oh my gosh, how have you not seen this?" Nah, hadn't even heard of it, let alone seen it. And I said I was 6 when this movie came out, so no, I haven't. But we are thinking of including it in my first watch segment that I do after we do the Star Wars stuff. Yeah, we're gonna sit down and watch that one together, so that'll be fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, I've never seen the movie, but I know of it and I know what happens in the movie. But never seen it.
Yeah, fair enough. And I've got another one here while we're just getting off the beaten track for a minute. The Fog with Jamie Lee Curtis. I love Jamie Lee Curtis. But no, I haven't watched that.
Same here. Never seen. Again, I've heard of it. Never seen it.
Yeah. I love The Mist though.
Never
Well, that's thrown in there. You have watched The Mist?
No.
Oh my god. gosh, you're missing out. But I really like The Mist. And you know what? There's the movie, obviously The Mist, which I think is fantastic. But then there's also the TV show, right? And that got canned after one season. But even the TV show, I loved that shit as well. And the way it ended, like there was so much more to come. You know, like they were really setting up for what could come next. Nothing comes next. Don't just can it. That's the end. Oh, so disappointing. Anyway, a lot of people hated it.
The funny thing is, by the way, that TV series, I've actually seen like a couple of episodes of that.
Yeah? Did you like it or? Yeah.
From what I remember, like this was years and years ago now when that was out.
Yeah.
But from what I remember, the couple of episodes I saw, I was like, it was all right, you know. I was like, it was quite interesting.
Yeah.
So anyone who's watching right now who hasn't like seen my channel or my streams or anything like that, there's a big long like running gag on my channel of being like, Mike's never seen this movie, he's never seen that movie, and there's a lot. Like I could generally do like a bit like Jamie Lee does, be like, you know, these first time watch kind of ones. But
100%.
the thing is, if I'm watching a movie, right, I've got like the last like movie on TV or something like that. I'm like this, and when I watch a movie, that's my reactions to a movie, and no one's gonna want to see that. Whereas you, when you've been doing your Star Wars ones, I've been like, that is a reaction I would want to watch.
But that's because I'm annoying as shit in real life watching movies. I'm constantly, why did they do that? Do you think they're going to kiss? Do you think he loves her? Constantly asking questions. It's annoying.
But there's two things like that, though, right? Like, there'd be a type where just me, like, just boring as hell watching it, you know? And then there's people like yourself who's like, what's going to happen next? Oh!
Yeah, right. So what are you going like that for? What movie has you going like super excited? Can't wait to see what happens next in the next 2 weeks.
I mean, okay, next 2 weeks. Okay, so on Wednesday, and I'm actually going to maybe do a rewatch tomorrow. But have you ever seen the movie Matilda?
Yes, I love Matilda.
Right.
I love Matilda. I love Miss Honey.
Right.
Matilda. I hate Miss Trunchbull.
Right. Well, I only found out today that it was directed by Danny DeVito. I did not know.
Yeah, right.
I was like, wow. Yeah, he directed that movie.
Yeah, right.
So the reason I mentioned Matilda there, to get back to your question, is because on Wednesday, there's like a film festival here in UK in London. Now, obviously, I can't get to London. It's like 4 hours on a train nearly. But at like a cinema that's maybe about 40 minutes drive from where I live, they're showing Matilda the musical, like the movie.
Yeah.
That's coming out in December, but they're showing like an early screening like next week.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking of doing is rewatching Matilda tomorrow, or maybe doing a YouTube review of it. So then on Wednesday, I can drop Matilda the musical review, and then I can be able to compare the two.
Yeah.
Because it's been so many years since I've seen the original Matilda.
Yeah, I love it.
So that's what I'm looking forward to, because Emma Thompson's playing Miss Trunchbull.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see like how she's going to portray that. Compared to,
Did you watch the trailer?
Yeah, the trailer looks all right.
Yeah, not too bad. She looked alright as it.
I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it's obviously going to be more of a modern adaptation of that story. So, you know, obviously there's going to be big differences or stuff that wasn't maybe cultural appropriate like now compared to when it was then, like etc. So I'm certainly intrigued for Matilda the musical is like the next movie I'm probably going to see at the cinema. Besides that, there's no really the releases that's coming out in the next 2 weeks that I'm like, oh wow, I've got to check out that movie.
Yeah, fair enough.
What about you with TV?
TV, I will be watching Fate the Winx Saga. I watched season 1 of that and I really liked it. Season 2 came out and I saw the trailer and I was a bit like, I feel like they're really trying to, I don't know, the sex was thrown in there a lot and I was like, really? Like, I want to see like fairies. I want to see some wings and shit. I want to see some magic. I don't want to see that. Yeah, it was like 2 guys kissing and I'm like, oh, I feel like they're just really trying to do that whole representation thing when they don't need to. Like, it can literally just be a really good series about magic and witches. Witches. I'm too busy talking about that bloody craft shit now. Fairies is what I meant there.
Right.
Anyway, so I'm excited to watch that one. And then there was a movie that I wanted to watch as well. Obviously, oh my God, the biggest news of all, guys, The Walking Dead starts back up today. I'll probably be watching it at like midnight because we've got a party and my football team are playing and, football is priority. But yeah, so obviously The Walking Dead's back. That'll be weekly. So I'm excited. I don't even need to talk about how excited I am for that one. We all know. But then there was a movie. I can't remember the name of it. I did write it down, but I can't remember where. It has Mila Kunis in it. I think it's called like The Last Girl Alive or The Luckiest Girl Alive or something like that. It's coming out on Netflix on the 7th, I think.
Okay.
Can't remember the title of it. I'll have to Google it. Actually, I'll do that right now.
Yeah, I'm just looking on Google as well for movies coming out next 2 weeks as well.
I'm sure it's Last Girl Alive, I think. Anyway, it's coming to Netflix.
Okay.
And I'm excited to watch that one as well. It looks like it's going to be a thriller, like something happened to her in her high school days. There was like an accident, like a flood or something where it looks like people or a lot of girls die. This is just what I got from the trailer anyway. And she escapes and, moves on with her life, sort of like leaves the town and moves on, focuses on a career and getting married and having this picture perfect life with like a picket fence and things like that. And yeah, obviously her past comes back to haunt her and, you find out what really happened and what went down. Is she actually a survivor of this or is she an instigator? Did she start this? And yeah, I think it's going to be really fun. I like thrillers and I haven't seen Mila in things for a while. So yeah, excited for that.
Yeah, okay, that sounds cool. I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, I'm sure it's on Netflix, so I'll shoot you through a link anyway. But those are the things that I'm looking forward to. The kids and I have seen Super Pets. I still haven't watched Super Pets either.
I've seen that one.
How could I have missed that voice? Yeah, I know you're so big on Keanu Reeves, but I mean, he's a great guy, but I don't get what all the hype is acting-wise. But anyway, my personal opinion. Anyway, that's what we have coming up.
Sure.
Yeah, over the next 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks' time, we will be doing a similar live stream again and talking all the entertainment news from the past 2 weeks and what we've watched since then and what will we be watching in the next 2 weeks following that stream as well.
Right. And I'll certainly have some updates in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, definitely.
And keep an eye on my channel because I do a weekly stream called Z Talks and Jamie is often on there like every other week or every 2 weeks. So
yeah, we're usually doing a collab together in some way, shape or form. Speaking of collabs, I haven't been very active lately with posting my first watches, but I am editing them. They take a long time, but I do have Return of the Jedi coming up with Jacob on my channel. And then I'm watching the next one with Anthony Perez. And then Christian is watching the one after that. So there's definitely some first watches coming, but they haven't been on my channel for a while because I've had other things happening. But yeah, they're definitely coming and you've got some cool things over on your channel as well. Right. So yeah, if you're not already, please give Mike a sub, check out his channel. And if you're not already and you're still hanging around here, give me one as well. And head on over to our Instagram and give us a follow over there as well, please. Okay. Thanks for joining me.
Of course. Thanks, Jamie. This has been a blast. I'm looking forward to 2 weeks' time. Should be good.
Awesome. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.